so strange, isn't it?
Yeah, and also I think the what happened in Florida is another bizarre aspect of this story.
I'm sorry. I neglected not to get into that.
You couldn't. Yeah, I mean, there's only so much you can cover, but there's a lot of loose threads.
I'd say
the most bizarre thing that I didn't even know was how they don't know where they made the bombs, and they don't seem to care to want to find out. Like, that's bizarre to me.
I mean, that is a very, very, very strange aspect.
Case closed, guys. We got the...
We don't have to really worry about that so much because the chances of that guy making more bombs is probably zero.
Well, for what it's worth, and not only that, they're going after his friends from UMass Dartmouth really hard.
Right.
And they made...
Yeah, you're talking about
Johar.
Johar.
You should explain that.
Yes, okay. So Johar had some friends at UMass Amherst who I guess were at arm's length enough to have no idea he was up to this. But... They're his roommates or his friends, and they saw that he had like fireworks and Vaseline, and they assumed that that's how the bomb was made. And apparently they hid that. They panicked. They didn't know what to do. They wanted to protect their friend and whatnot. And it's quite clear, even as the FBI tells it, that they had nothing to do with it, but they did obstruct the investigation. College kids, and clearly they should not have done that and responded. I mean, there's not in any way, but they weren't involved in the making or the plotting or had any pre-knowledge of what was going to happen. They just after the fact said, "Oh, is it possible that our buddy was involved in this? We're gonna hide that from the FBI and probably thinking like when he comes back, we'll confront him." Or what?
Right.
I don't know.
Well, there isn't even any, as you say, though, there in any of the charges. And one of these guys might get 25 years, as far as I understand. The one that didn't plea. There's no one has said, like, oh, they were a part of this or they knew. That hasn't been floated. It's covering up, which is important.
After the fact.
Just after the fact, which is just being, whatever you think of that, regardless of that, it's astonishing that you would go after them in such a draconian way. And then totally ignore.
Well, one indicates like this is very serious stuff, and the other indicates like that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And in fact,
we don't know where they got
I would
the
say
bomb.
it's actually the inverse. Like a little bit more worried about how
now, maybe
the bomb
we'll
was
find
constructed.
out. Maybe we'll find out in 6 months. They have discovered. It's possible. Yes. They have discovered where it was made. We found. I mean, look. If I suspect this is either they're having trouble finding it and they're still looking. It seems unlikely to me that this is like some type of nefarious activity by the FBI, because if they're that nefarious, then you just say, "Oh, we found it."
Oh, I don't think it's nefarious. They were out. There's a competence question.
They found it. They were out in a tent, and they would drive out to Attleboro, Massachusetts, or I don't even know.
You seem to know a lot about this.
I'm thinking of a Massachusetts town and starting with the A's. But it does seem weird. And, that's more of like the defense theoretically could have created an entire theory about this, right? I mean, we've heard many stories. And by stories, I mean, it's been reported that the FBI gets very involved in creating the mechanism for would-be terrorists to commit a terrorist act. Now, those mechanisms are generally fake, right? Like, here's the fake way to make a bomb, and here's and you guys should really think about taking over the country, and I will be the one to help you get the boots and the uniforms, that type of thing. So I don't know. There's a lot of questions unanswered. And so there's two elements of this story that I find really compelling. One is that there's a lot of things that are unanswered, I think. The other being that what our approach to terrorism has invested terrorist attacks with more worth than I think is necessary. In other words, if we treated these as criminal matters, and maybe, I'm against the death penalty, period, But maybe Zohar, he's tried as a criminal. He gets the same penalty. I would have liked it to be life in prison. But nevertheless, the glory is not there. It is not you have been able to mobilize the full powers of the United States military. So I don't know. But it's a fascinating story.